This is the newsroom for today, Thursday, July 1, 2021. We are broadcasting to you on E1, Scar TV, NTN, and Tarzi TV in Bartica. In the headlines, the DPP is being asked by attorney Nigel Hughes to review the murder charge against Glaston Henry, who is accused of killing 17-year-old Harish Singh.
All I want, I plead in with the whosoever listening now. My son is innocent, please lose him.
The family of murdered Seanette Dover accused the police of abandoning the case. The regional flood assessment team has recommended monetary support for farmers who have suffered due to the nationwide flooding, as well as the relocation of farms. And in sport, journalist Emerson Campbell eyeing gold at CSC Bodybuilding Championship in August, and Golden Jaguars assistant coach Charles Pollard optimistic ahead of clash with Guatemala. With the news, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. We started by telling you that the Director of Public Prosecutions, the DPP, Shalimar Ali Haq, is being asked to reconsider the charge instituted against Glaston Henry for the murder of Berbice teen Harish Singh. The request, which has since been sent to the DPP by the attorney Nigel Hughes, is accompanied by the eyewitness statements of 10 persons who claim that he was with them at his family house at the same time that Singh was killed. Kurt Campbell reports.
2 days after he was charged with the murder of 17-year-old Harish Singh, 10 persons have come forward to plead the innocence of Glaston Henry, claiming that he was at his family's house at No. 3 Village, West Coast, Berbice, at the same time that Singh was killed. But what ties him to the murder is the alleged written confession of Philip Anderson, a family friend who lived at the same house. Anderson was reportedly there on September 9, 2020, the day Singh's battered body was discovered in the Backlands. Investigating ranks have come in for strong criticisms for reportedly ignoring Glaston's alibi by attorney Nigel Hughes, who has since written to the Director of Public Prosecutions, Shalimar Ali Haq, asking for a review of the charge in wake of signed statements from 10 eyewitnesses who verified Glaston's alibi. It was the Director of Public Prosecution's chamber that advised the police to charge Glaston, Anderson and 2 others for the crime. But according to Hughes, that advice was given in the absence of the signed statements of support for Glaston's alibi. He hopes that the DPP would give some credence to the statements of the 10 persons, including Glaston's mother, and reconsider her decision before the case is taken to trial.
We reminded the police that we have statements, and during the course of that evening, I emailed the Director of Public Prosecution indicating my very serious fears and reservations about the conduct of the investigation and expressing my firm view that miscarriage of justice was occasioned by the institution of these charges against Mr. Henry, because of course, once you are charged with murder, you are not admitted to bail.
Glaston is the brother of 16-year-old Isaiah Henry and the cousin of 19-year-old Joel Henry. Both teens were brutally maimed and murdered in September 2020. Their bodies were discovered on September 6 by relatives in Cotton Tree, West Coast, Berbice, after they were reported missing. Some family members of Harish Singh were arrested as part of investigations into the murder of the Henry teens, but they were released as no evidence linked them to the crime. Singh's death has always been regarded as retaliation for the murder of the Henry boys. Meanwhile, Hughes, at the press conference held at his Cross Street Working-Ross Georgetown office Thursday, said the contents of Anderson's confession were bare and bland.
Were you provided a copy of Mr. Anderson's statement?
Yes, we do have a copy of that statement. We certainly will make that available to you if you wish.
But at this time, can you say to what extent he provided details on Mr. Henry's alleged involvement?
It was a very bare, bland statement. They were there, they went in the morning, they stopped him on the motorcycle.
Like family members, Hughes is also concerned that the police never held a confrontation between Glaston and Anderson. Family members have also claimed that 2 members of the Guyana Police Force, one whom they identified as Detective Sarbo, was present at the house on the morning of September 9, 2020, and could also confirm that Glaston was there.
But all I want, I plead in with the whosoever listening now. My son is innocent, please lose him, because they destroy his character done. They take one of my son, please release the next one. Isaiah had 16, 18 wounds. He had just his skin, hold his neck. And which mother bear a child for 9 months and could see that you don't have a heart? I cannot see my son from since he left the 5th. We find it is 6. I go to the man which I cannot go more. I tell him I start see dark and weak my son under the mango tree. I can't see my son. I see my son till on the 13th of September when anybody come in a box to me. Oh, nobody don't have heart out there. And now you come in and take the next one away. Where is it that I do to you, sir?
Yu said Singh was murdered between 9:30 hours and 10 hours, the same time that the police ranks visited the house and reportedly saw Glaston. The Henry family and friends who signed the statements have rejected claims that Glaston could have left, committed the crime, and returned home. Tiffany Campbell, one of the women who claimed she was present at the Henrys' house, told the news conference that she slept on the same bed with Anderson, her cousin, the night prior. She said they woke up and never left the house, claiming that they stayed to look at the broadcast of the autopsies of the Henry cousins, which was being streamed live. Campbell now questions the motive for Anderson giving what she regards as a false confession to the police.
Philip Anderson was where?
Was at home too.
On what day? The same day? The same day that Harris Singh got murdered? Philip Anderson was at this home?
Yes.
We
sleep together actually.
You
was
living there.
It was
You're going to say you slept together. You slept at that house tonight?
Yes, we sleep in the same room. He was on
you,
the floor.
Philip Anderson?
Yes.
And
Gladwin and Gladwin girl, and we sleep on the bed and he sleep on the floor.
And that morning at about 9:30 and 10 when the murder?
Was supposed to get. We was preparing things. Was supposed to get. Was playing cards.
So what could be the purpose of the charges against Glaston? His mother, Patricia Henry, believes it may be to silence her. She said her push for justice for her son Isaiah have been unending threats. Her husband, Glaston Henry, believes the intent could be to drive fear.
It's so serious that they couldn't even call us and tell us, well, all right, we child need in custody of questioning. But let's put out bulletin. And I am saying that it's a drive fear in us for us not to go forward with the justice for Isaiah Joel. There's no joke. You all know that. So we need justice.
According to Hughes, the rush to arrest and charge Glaston came after his mother appeared on a program aired on Facebook recently and made strong statements about her disappointment and lack of confidence in the police investigation into the murders that occurred almost a year ago. The family will now wait to hear from the DPP as to whether the charge against Glaston would be dropped. He is charged along with 3 others who all appeared virtually before Magistrate Peter Yu at the Fort Wellington Magistrates Court on June 29, 2021. They were not required to enter a plea to the charge of murder and were remanded to prison until July 12, 2021. The case was transferred to the Blairmont Magistrates Court. Those charged are 29-year-old Philip Anderson, called Ratman of No. 3 Village, 27-year-old Joel Gittins, called Bolo of Django Tang, East Coast Demerara, 27-year-old Glaston Henry, called Gladwin Henry, and Soldier Man of No. 3 Village, and 21-year-old Charles Scott, called Buku of Jarvis Street, Rossignol, Berbice. For the Newsroom, Kurt Campbell.
And it has been 2 months since the decomposed body of 20-year-old Lindener Seanette Dover was discovered buried in a shallow grave in her boyfriend's backyard, and her family is of the firm belief that the police have abandoned the case. Shakima Day joins us now.
Seanette Dover's grandmother, Constance Dover, told the Newsroom on Thursday in a telephone interview that the family is still awaiting word from police 2 months since her death on the status of investigations and the whereabouts of the prime suspect, 21-year-old Shaquan Allen, called Isway.
From the time Seanette buried, until now, no police is telling us anything, or asking us anything, or calling us or anything. So we say that how it seems as though Seanette was just shot like a board and, and fall down, and that was it. So we don't know really what is happening because nobody is calling us to tell us anything. And we're not in a position to tell them you got to do this and you got to do that or whatever. I think they should be doing their work, go seeking to get the boy or whatever, but they're not doing anything, so I don't know what to say. We just got to be waiting on the Lord in God's timing and see what's going to happen.
According to her, the family is looking for some form of closure as they have not been able to recover from Seanette's gruesome death.
We just trying to see what is happening or what's going to happen. We are looking forward for something to happen. We are looking forward to get some kind, something to keep our mind at ease, that we can be satisfied about what's going on or anything. But we're not getting this kind of information. It's just, we say, like everybody they just take me and put me down in a car now. So I don't know what's really going on. If you hear anything and you go and you say, well, you were told, right? Because, people don't want you to tell the name or something. You say, I see this by, or this by day, or some sort of thing, like that. Or X place or wherever the case may be. And if you when you tell them, they just say you're sure and this and that, and that's all. And so like we can look into it. And that's all, nothing more. Nobody don't come and find out nothing. Nobody don't tell you nothing. Nobody don't call you anything and say anything. So we don't know what to do.
The partly decomposed body of Seanette Dover, who was missing for more than 3 weeks, was unearthed in a sitting position in a shallow grave on April 30th at Allen's backyard in Canvas City, Wismar, Linden. Allen allegedly shot her and buried her in his backyard in the presence of Dover's 15-year-old sister sometime on April 3rd, 2021, the last day she was seen alive. The sister weeks later confessed to the police that she saw when Allen shot and killed her sister and then later buried her. In the days and weeks following the young woman's disappearance and now revealed death, Allen was fervently searching for her and pleading for her return. But all this time, Allen had allegedly already killed and buried her. It is believed that Allen fled to French Guyana after he reached out to a friend seeking help to flee the country, days after Dover was reportedly missing. The child was subsequently charged with accessory after the fact. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Shakima Day.
President Irfan Ali on Thursday witnessed the traditional piling of drums and laying of flags during the Guyana Police Force's Drumhead Church service to commemorate the force's 182nd anniversary held at the Police Officers' Mess, Ivlery. The Drumhead service is a precursor to a series of activities to commemorate the establishment of the police force on July 1, 1839. President Ali, who was accompanied by the Minister of Home Affairs, Robson Ben, and several hierarchies of the joint services, has had a special interest in equipping the force with the necessary advanced tools and human resource training since entering office last August. The President believes that a stronger force will help to bolster the economic development that will revolutionize Guyana. In outlining his vision for the Guyana Police Force at their annual officers conference held in March, the Commander-in-Chief had coined the term smart policing. He has repeated at numerous forums that technology is an important component in the overall process of repositioning, restructuring, rebranding, reorganizing, retooling, and repairing the force's image and service delivery. Some 130 passengers on board an American Airlines flight that should have landed at the Chadijagan International Airport at 5 hours on Thursday, but instead was diverted to neighboring Brazil, is now expected here tonight. The Boeing 737-800 was forced to land at the Boa Vista International Airport because of poor visibility of the runway caused by thick fog in and around the Timeri area. Newsroom was reliably informed that the flight carrying dozens of Guyanese nationals is now expected at 22 hours. Officials of the Chadijagan International Airport and airline representatives could not provide immediate updates on the welfare of the passengers and the status of fuel for the aircraft. The flight departed from the John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York just before midnight on Wednesday and traveled safely to Guyana but could not land. The aircraft reportedly circled the airport several times before the decision was taken to land in Boa Vista. Still ahead on the newsroom, the Regional Flood Assessment Team has recommended monetary support for farmers who have suffered due to the nationwide flooding as well as the relocation of farms. This is the newsroom. Minister of Governance and Parliamentary Affairs Gail Teixeira on Wednesday night declared that the use of Guyana's oil wealth is focused on the modernization and expansion of the country's economic base, and the government's projects and policies are designed to ensure that all Guyanese benefit. Her statement is in response to those of U.S. Democratic Congressman Hank Johnson and the chairman of the Congressional Subcommittee on the Western Hemisphere. Both congressmen have called on Guyana to ensure its wealth benefits all Guyanese. Minister Teixeira said that the PPP government has no qualms with the call by the U.S. Congressman that all Guyanese should benefit equally from Guyana's wealth. However, the call should not be prompted by those who do not recognize the government as legitimate.
That we have been moving in to ensure that all Guyanese are benefiting from the wealth of our country prior to oil, during oil, and after oil. Article 13 of our nation of the Constitution talks about parliamentary democracy and participatory democracy, and we believe in that. And so everything we've done, including poverty reduction programs, the opening up of the housing programs, the creation of water systems where they weren't there before, solar panels in interior areas, and development of the Amazonian areas in particular, as well as other villages that were neglected under the APNU AFC government, are all in train, and we've been moving at a rapid pace. In fact, the party that is guilty of discrimination, which keeps hollering about discrimination, is in fact the party that was in government for 5 years. We have no issue with the calls by the two gentlemen in relation to all Guyanese benefiting. We are committed to the Sustainable Development Goals. We're committed to Article 13 of our Constitution. We're committed to constitutional rule of law and participatory democracy. But it cannot be the rule of those who refuse to accept democracy and those who do not accept the will of the people of our country who elected the People's Progressive Party Civic.
Monetary support for farmers who have suffered due to the nationwide flooding as well as the relocation of farms are among the key recommendations made after a detailed damage sectoral assessment was conducted by teams from the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency in collaboration with the Guyana's Civil Defense Commission. Vishani Raghuber reports.
5 teams from the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, CDEMA, in collaboration with Guyana's Civil Defense Commission, CDC, spent a number of days traveling across the 5 regions of Guyana that were severely impacted by the recent nationwide flooding. In regions 2, 5, 6, 7, and 10, the 5 regions that recorded a level 3 disaster, the teams conducted a detailed damage sectoral assessment. On Wednesday afternoon, the team, including the Executive Director of CDEMA, Elizabeth Riley, presented some of the preliminary findings to Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips and other government ministers. According to a release from the Office of the Prime Minister, among the key recommendations presented were the need for monetary support to be provided to farmers whose income were impacted, the relocation of farms in some areas, the procurement of planting materials, and the provision of food supplies to affected residents. Following that meeting, the Prime Minister said that a report from CDEMA would inform the government's recovery efforts moving forward.
In a nutshell, what it helped us to do is to start the recovery process in an informed manner. All right, because the report will spell out, the sectors that are severely affected by the flooding, as you can recall, it affected every region in Guyana. And this is just one of several assessments, because after, my understanding is that after this phase, there are 2 other steps that we will commission, and that will help us to plan our recovery from the floods. As you know, recovery in a sense is getting the whole development process back on the road, so to speak, in terms of infrastructure development, getting the livelihood of the people who are affected by the flooding back on stream, the farms that were affected, and so this will now help us to determine the inputs from all the sectors, the miners that are affected, etc.
CDEMA's Executive Director, Elizabeth Riley, at the end of the high-level meeting, highlighted that the Caribbean body was happy to be able to support Guyana at this time. She noted that the coordination that was done by the CDC has been quite good, and that the teams were able to explore how the flooding impacted specific sectors.
We also had a conversation around the sectors of health. We looked at water and sanitation issues, and understandably, there are some challenges that are being faced with respect to water and sanitation in the aftermath of a flood of this magnitude. We also discussed impacts to housing and the potential steps that could be taken to address these, as well as for infrastructure and sheltering arrangements as well for persons who have been displaced.
During his COVID-19 update on Thursday, the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, spoke about this high-level meeting as well and related that SEDIMA made some recommendations on how the Health Ministry could strengthen its response to and management of such a disaster in future. Meanwhile, Director General of the Civil Defense Commission, Lieutenant Colonel Kester Craig, related that the assessments allowed the CDC to recognize what are some of the immediate actions that can be taken to improve their response in some of the affected communities. He also explained that even though the assessment was only conducted in 5 of the affected regions, it provides a base for further assessments to be done, extending to other regions categorized as facing a Level 2 disaster. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Vishani Ragbir.
The Health Ministry has received 88,000 doses of the 100,000 doses of Sinopharm COVID-19 vaccines it purchased to advance the national vaccination campaign, and these vaccines will allow for greater vaccination coverage in remote areas. This is according to the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, who spoke during his daily COVID-19 update on Thursday.
We have started the distribution of those that we have received, so we're sending them out to the region. And one of the advantages with this particular vaccine is it does not require the ultra cold storage or the really cold storage, which is -20. These are vaccines that can be stored from 2 to 8, so we are very happy with that because it allows us to move them to very remote places as well. Yesterday, we were only at 22.7% of our adult population that is fully immunized. So the vaccines that we have would certainly help us to get there, but we need people to come forward and take the vaccines. And I'm very hopeful that more and more people would understand the importance of getting vaccinated, because without vaccination, you are putting yourself and your family at risk.
This is the newsroom. Months after the government took its hire purchase bill to Parliament and tabled amendments to the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act with its touted ganja bill, both of which were sent to special select committees, the parliamentary subgroups have been constituted and will begin its work soon. Kurt Campbell reports.
Both special select committees to look at the country's hire purchase and marijuana laws include members of parliament from both the government and opposition sides of the House, with Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal elected chairman of the committee for the ganja bill, and Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce Anuj Walran elected chair of the committee on the hire purchase bill. Along with Nandlal, the members on the committee for the ganja bill include Minister of Governance and Parliamentary Affairs Gil Teixeira, Minister of Education Priya Manikchand, Minister of Home Affairs Robson Ben, and the Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport Charles Ramson. From the opposition side, the members are Kemraj Ramchatan, Annette Ferguson, Amanza Walton Desir, and Sherrod Duncan. Meanwhile, along with Minister Walran, the other members on the hire purchase bill Special Select Committee are Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa, Minister of Labour Joseph Hamilton, Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water Susan Rodriguez, and MP Faisal Jafar Ali. From the opposition side, the members are Roysdale Ford, Tabitha Sarbo Haley, Geeta Chandan Edmond, and Natasha Singh Lewis. The newsroom understands that there is to be a meeting of the Committee of Selection on Friday, where the APNU AFC coalition is expected to make a change to one of its members on the Hire Purchase Bill Committee. Both Nandlal and Waldron have told the newsroom that they will soon commence consultations on the two separate matters through public hearings.
At that Special Select Committee, we intend to engage the stakeholders and to have their input, because we don't pass legislation that are without consultation. As far as possible, we try to engage in a consultative process in every aspect of our decision making, including our legislative agenda.
The AG said he knows and understands that government processes are normally slow and the point is noted that the process needs to be accelerated. The ganja bill proposes counseling and community service for persons found with between 15 to 30 grams of marijuana instead of mandatory jail time. Meanwhile, the hire purchase bill would provide protection for persons who are buying items on credit. It could abolish the seizure of items after one-time non-payment. For the Newsroom, Kurt Campbell.
Colon cancer has been observed as quite the aggressive cancer locally, and as such, medical oncologist Dr. Latoya Gooding has called for individuals, especially those aged 50 years and older, to engage in routine screening to safeguard their health. Vishanu Raghuber reports.
After feeling unwell for a number of months in 2018, Chandrawati Samaru, who was 51 years old at the time, decided to visit her physician. Upon telling the physician that she always felt tired and experienced stomach and headaches, he decided to run some tests. She said this proved to be life-changing for her.
Given your history that your dad died of colon cancer, well, he died of cancer, we were not sure if it was colon, because it was in 1994, and back then, there wasn't that much cancer awareness. So he said, let's go do a colonoscopy and a endoscopy. So the endoscopy came back okay, and then they found a tumor in the colon, It was at stage 2A, so we caught it early. And I had to do a surgery in January of 2019, and after then I started chemo at Georgia Hospital Oncology.
Since then, she has been recovering well. Colon cancer is one of the many diseases that can affect individuals, but it is usually recorded in individuals older than 50 years. Local medical oncologist Dr. Latoya Gooding, in an interview with the Newsroom on Wednesday, explained how this type of cancer develops, noting that it is becoming a cause for concern.
Basically, colon cancer can start anywhere from in the digestive tract, that is below the stomach, and ends in the rectum. That's a colorectal cancer. Now, I believe it's the 7th cause of cancer here in Guyana. It's not that frequent. It's a disease of mostly older persons, because screening for colon cancer actually starts after age 50 or at age 50. But my professional observation, I've been seeing younger and younger persons being diagnosed with it, and it's very aggressive. Some of the cases that we've had, for example, a 37-year-old male, already diagnosed in stage 4, and treatment didn't help much, right? He succumbed to his treatment, and it was very, very aggressive.
This type of cancer, the oncologist explained, is a lifestyle disease, which means that poor eating habits, such as consuming red meat and not enough fruits and vegetables, coupled with other factors such as smoking, lack of exercise, and poor bowel habits, can result in the development of this cancer. Importantly, she related that it can be easily misdiagnosed since, unlike other cancers, a doctor cannot simply press certain parts of the body and feel for abnormalities.
One of the things that we ask persons to look out for is like if you're having constant constipation that is being alternating with diarrhea, or if you start passing blood in the rectum, blood from in the stool, or if normally your stool would be coming at a regular size and then you find it start coming like a pencil, the width of a pencil, or if it start coming like, the channel, it start coming in droplets. So those are all things that they have to look out for.
Samaru was one patient who managed to detect her cancer in time, which saved her from becoming seriously ill. Still, she is wary that those cancerous cells might develop again.
Right now, I'm doing okay. The recent tests and so on came back clear, but like Dr. Gooding said, we're not having that much success with colon. So I'm hoping that I will be one of the success stories.
Screening services for colon cancer and other types of cancers are offered at the Oncology Department of the Georgetown Public Hospital. Reporting for the Newsroom, I am Vishani Raghuber.
When the Newsroom returns, the financial weather and bridge reports along with sports. Welcome back to Newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We start things off with some bodybuilding news. Emerson Campbell has medaled twice at the Central American and Caribbean Bodybuilding Championships. However, none of those medals are gold, and as he prepares for this year's event in August, gold is the only thing on Campbell's mind. Akim Green visited him during a training workout and filed this report.
A silver in 2016, missing gold by 1 point, and bronze in 2018 are Campbell's stocks at a high-profile regional event. It means there is one space to fill in his cabinet, and he plans to ensure he fulfills that endeavor when he heads to El Salvador for the championships from August 11th to the 16th.
Well, we're 6 weeks out from CSE in El Salvador, and prep has been really good so far. I can't complain. I'm not stressed. I'm right where I want to be 6 weeks out. Actually, I think I'm ahead of schedule where I should be. So I have no complaints. Training has been good. My nutrition, my rest, everything is falling into place. As a person who more or less lives a fitness lifestyle, even though the gyms were closed, I was doing some bit of training at home, but nothing specific for bodybuilding. But every athlete and every person on this planet has been affected by the pandemic, not just me. So I think we're on an even playing field, and I look forward to coming onto this pandemic as looking at it as though, you know, we conquered through the pandemic, we trained through the pandemic, and we just want to go to El Salvador to conquer. Well, the first time I medaled at CSE in 2016 in the Dominican Republic, they had the most ever athletes, 416, and I got a silver medal. Whereby I won't look at it as though they might have less athletes at El Salvador. I just want to bring my A game and focus on me and do better than I did before, and everything else would sort itself out. This is a subjective sport that we're in. It's not like Usain Bolt run across the line, everybody knows he wins. A judge might like your physique, a judge may not. So it's all up to the judges, but we as athletes, we try to bring our A game and do our best and bring the best package that we can and let the rest take care of itself. But I'm gunning for the goal. That's always the goal for me, to win a gold medal.
Reporting for the Newsroom, I am Akim Green.
Football news now. Assistant coach and former captain of the Golden Jaguars, Charles Lily Pollard, has called for patience and positivity towards the national team program ahead of what is likely to be a tough challenge against Guatemala on Saturday. The Guyana senior national men's team takes on Central American nation in Florida on July 3 in the preliminary round of the 2021 CONCACAF Gold Cup. It is the second consecutive appearance for Guyana's men's team at the Gold Cup following its historic qualification in 2019. Pollard spoke to GFF Now, that's the Guyana Football Federation's media channel, ahead of the game.
We all know Guatemala is a very good team in the Central American area, the Caribbean. It will be a tough challenge for us. But it's a challenge I think that every footballer should relish, young, old, because this is what we do. This is our game, you know. We know it's going to be a tough game, but we are positive. We're positive we could come out with a very, very good result. You know, because the ball is wrong and anything can happen. But we are very positive, the coaching staff are very positive to the players. Good information, good messages, carry on some very good session. So I think we're preparing right. But we have to believe as players and as staff. It's going to be a difficult game. Guatemala is a very top-class team. We know that, but look, we are a Gold Cup. We are a Gold Cup team. We prove ourselves in Gold Cup. We win Gold Cup. We're not a ordinary team, you know. But I think it's a very, very tough challenge for the guys. But that's football. Football is tough. I just want to say to the fans, look, we're in a transition. And transition take time, you know. So we need to give the process a chance, allow it to grow. It won't happen overnight. I know we might say, look, we want results, but it's a process, and it will take time. So we need to give the youngsters a chance, and they will deliver. But it won't happen overnight. Football, like a coach always tell me, football is not magic. Football is hard work and dedication. But we need to give the process a chance. Support the team. We are Guyanese.
Dwayne Bravo claimed career best figures of 4 for 19 to set up a series decider against South Africa on Saturday. Chasing 168, South Africa were held to 146 for 9, with Quinton de Kock making 60. Bravo picked up 3 wickets in 1 over to kill the chase, while Andre Russell took 2 for 30. There were wickets also for Chris Gale, Obed McCoy and Kieran Pollard. Earlier, Pollard struck 5 sixes and 2 fours in 51 not out of 25 balls, as West Indies ransacked 66 runs in the last 4 overs after being limited to 101 for 6 after 16 overs. Fabian Allard made 19 not out in partnership with skipper Pollard, while opener Lendl Simmons made 47 of 34. Tabriz Shamsi took 2 for 13. The 5th and final game will take place on Saturday from 14 hours. Meanwhile, West Indies women's fast bowler Shamila Cornell bowled her team to a fantastic victory over Pakistan women in the opening match of their CG Insurance T20 International Series on Wednesday. She took 3 wickets in a superb opening burst, which gave the home team the ideal start in the field after they made 136 for 6 of their 20 overs. Cornell ended with 3 for 24. All 3 batters bowled as Pakistan slipped to 23 for 3, after which Aliya Allen took 2 for 23. They did recover to post 126 for 6, thanks largely to Aish Nazim with 45 not out and Fatima Khan with an unbeaten 24. In the first over, Javera Rauf dragged on a sharp delivery, and in the next over she also sent back Javera Khan and Nida Dar to leave Pakistan in deep trouble. Earlier, West Indies women's total was built on an opening partnership of 65 between Hayley Matthews and Deandra Dottin, who were the principal scorers. Matthews made 32 and Dottin 21. After the game, Captain Stephanie Taylor and player of the match Shamila Cornell spoke to CWI media rep Nazira Mohammed.
Well, I thought that the batting gave us a good start. Hayley and Dottin had about 50-run partnership, so that was good. Give the lower order momentum to post about 130 something on the board for the bowlers to go out there and defend.
If you have to choose as captain, which one of the 2 performances? The partnership between Dottin and Matthews at the start, or Cornell's 3 wickets? Which one do you think sealed the game for West Indies today?
That's a close one, but I'll give it to Dottin and Hayley. I thought they batted really well, sensible, and just what we've been asking for.
We saw a good rotation and strike in terms of taking the bad balls, but also running the singles and twos in between. How does that augur going into this series for the second game on Friday?
Well, we know that that's something that we've have to keep working at. Rotating the strike. We keep saying that, and I thought that we've been getting better at it. It's just to continue doing so, and I find that once you rotate the strike, you find boundaries come easier. So I thought that's what happened today.
How does it feel to be back out on the park at home in the Caribbean? 19 months?
Oh yeah, it's been a long time, and I know that we were on a losing streak, so it's actually nice to get a win under the belt.
Shamila Cornell, congratulations, player of the match in the first CG Insurance T20 match. How does it feel?
It feels great, coming off of England. The last game we played in England was a man match also, so being able to start by my international series with the man match is a great feeling as well.
What was your game plan when you went out there, seeing that we had 136 runs to bowl at?
It was just to go there and just execute, hit my areas hard, and just try to contain as much as possible.
The 2 teams will meet again in the second of 3 T20 games on Friday, starting at 14 hours at the Coolidge Cricket Ground in Antigua. And Pete Russell has been appointed as the Chief Executive Officer of the Hero Caribbean Premier League. Russell has been part of the Hero CPL management team since the tournament's inception, serving as the Chief Operating Officer. Russell has overseen the operational side of the Hero CPL for the last 8 years, during which time the league has grown in stature to become one of the most watched franchise T20 tournaments in the world. He has also played a key role in securing commercial partnerships, broadcast deals, and building strong and productive relationships with governments across the region. Russell will be leading the Hero CPL team as they prepare for the 2021 tournament, which takes place in St. Kitts and Nevis from August 28 to September 19. Some boxing news now. AIBA 3-star coach Terence Poole has been selected to lead a team of 4 boxers to the America's Boxing Association's Youth Championship qualifying tournament from July 11 to 19 in Mexico. The quartet of boxers would be led by Caribbean champion Alicia Jackman, with the others being Travis Inverary, Wayne Castello, and Patrick Harvey. President of the Guyana Boxing Association, Stephen Inval, said the association is keen on providing opportunities for local boxers to get exposed to another level of competition. He said the association is currently working on getting the necessary funding to to ensure the trip is a reality.
We had said that it's important to make sure we keep exposing our athletes and more importantly, our younger athletes to international competition. We've seen the fruits of that with Kevin Alicock be qualifying for the Olympics. And this AMBC qualifier is quite an important fixture. As a matter of fact, it would be the first time that we'll be engaging in international competition since December 2019, when we participated at the Caribbean Championship. It would give us a chance also to gauge exactly where our young boxers are. And I can tell you they are so excited to get back into competition. They have been training for some time. And we do hope that we acquire the necessary support in order to get them to Mexico.
And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, Newsroom.gy, our Facebook page, and Instagram. On behalf of the entire news team, my name is Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.